and welcome back to BlizzCon, our final 2 days of HGC 2018. Are you guys having a good time? Well, we're having a great time. We just finished watching Gen G take an incredible 2-0 victory over the One. The One will have to pack up shop and head home. Gen G advances to the round of 4. Up next, we've got North America versus EU, Heroes Hearth Esports versus Team Liquid. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here online. JC, Gilliby Gluck, we're over to you.
That's right, we are moments away from our first iteration of NA versus Europe, and we are packing the house. I want all of you out there in here, in the seats, because this is gonna be a good one. But first, I have a few people to introduce to the desk. I've got Dreadnought and Jayhow, and joining us once again is Tetcher. Dreadnought, what'd you make of that last match?
I mean, Gen G came out and did what they did best. I feel like a lot of teams, you know, though the One was able to make it to the stage, everybody is very thankful for that. Let's be real here. They were taking on a Titan like Gen G, and they just came in and cleaned up house.
Jayhow, what can we glean from Gen G and how they're feeling? Can they keep the dynasty going based on what you saw?
That's the hardest part, is that they have not shown anything other than what you just saw in that round robin stage, and even now. I think other teams out there, when you get to the round of 4 and possibly beyond and potentially beyond, you just don't know what to expect yet. We've seen different teams show different strategies. Gen G has literally shown nothing but standard play.
And Tetcher, while it is sad to say goodbye to the One, it was an expected run, and it's still a huge achievement that they even made it to BlizzCon.
Exactly. It's as far as they've ever gotten. It's really cool to see that, and it is a stepping stone, considering that they have slowly just placed higher and higher and higher as the years have gone on ever since that big drop-off. And it's nice to see that there is still evolution happening in that scene.
Well, I've got my fellow NA dudes up here.
I have never felt more outnumbered in my life, because not only NA, but mostly NA happening in the crowd.
You're outnumbered, my
right.
dude.
I'm very outnumbered.
And I want to talk about what we heard from Rich in his winner's interview, because Jayhow, he said he believes Heroes Hearth can win versus Team Liquid. And I know you guys out there, you also believe NA can take out Europe here and go farther than they've gone in BlizzCon before. Were you guys expecting to hear that from Rich?
I mean, I don't think I was expecting to hear that out of Rich's mouth, but I will say that I very much agree with that sentiment. I do not walk into the series feeling like either team has that big of an upper hand, and when we look at maybe some of the draft patterns out of both teams, I feel like Heroes Hearth is the one coming in with a lot of question marks, whereas Team Liquid has been rather rigid in their drafting. So if I'm Heroes Hearth, I go, I know what you're going to make happen. I can counter that, and I have a chance here to move on and, you know, really kind of outperform North America over the past couple of years.
Right, well, let's check in with the bracket for this event. Gen G with the win over the One. Move on to the semifinals, where they will face the victor of our next match, Heroes Hearth Esports versus Team Liquid. It's a toughie, but you know what? When you get to that point, it's going to be hard regardless, because on the other side of the bracket, you've got teams like Dignitas, you got the Korean scary teams like Miracle and Tempest, and Tempo Storm. They said it themselves, no one's going to want to play versus us, right, Jayhow?
It really feels like Gen G in that first series was maybe the one where you could say, all right, we feel this is the team that's going to win, but it seems like every other matchup that we have, it's almost a coin flip.
Later on, what we're going to see is Korea versus Korea with Miracle versus Tempest. But with Dignitas Tempo Storm, do you expect Tetcher Tempo Storm to put up more of a fight versus Dig than what we got from the One?
I mean, I would like to say so, because Tempo Storm have been looking very good throughout the weekend. They've been, throughout the opening week, they did stick to their style very effectively, but you have to look at Dignitas' play and start to have hesitation in that, as Dignitas have arguably looking stronger than Gen G so far. So I think it's going to be definitely an entertaining game whichever way it goes, but right now, I'm thinking it's still going to be closer.
North America has brought in a very different meta than what we've, yeah, a very, very different meta than, and even between the two teams, their own flavors of that meta. Are we expecting these things to continue? Are we expecting to see adjustments, Jayhow, past what we got in the group stage?
A lot of what we've seen from Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm, I think, is exactly what you can expect here.
Right.
But then I look at Team Liquid, and I think we have not seen just the tip of the iceberg. You think you still got Hasu and players like that that have these strange, unique heroes that they have. I guarantee it's time to come out for those.
Well, up next, two fan-favorite teams clash in a classic matchup as NA's finest, Heroes Hearth Esports attempts to overtake Europe and Team Liquid.
So we came out, we're very happy with how we've done so far, and we've frankly starting to build up a little confidence going into the next phase of this thing, even if we didn't start the whole tournament with it. But we're very happy, and for me, this being my first ever BlizzCon tournament, I'm super pumped to play on the stage.
The player I'm most looking at on Liquid is Arcaner. I'm pretty sure he drafts for them, shot calls for them, and most of the time it seems like the team is kind of playing around him and his success. So if we can try to choke him out on heroes and kind of frustrate him, I think they'll struggle. Playing in front of the crowd at BlizzCon is going to be incredible. Last year when we were in the crowd watching, there was so many USA chants, and you could feel the NA teams kind of feeding off the energy and getting really pumped up. So we're definitely going to look to abuse that kind of momentum that we already have being the home team, while also trying to stay calm and not getting too riled up.
The opening week went very well for us as Team Liquid. We split with Gen G 1-1 and we managed to 2-0 Tempo Storm, which was a big achievement.
Yeah, it will be the first time I play in front of the BlizzCon crowd. From what I heard, it's like truly amazing. It's a lot of people, and there's always a lot of energy exchange within the crowd and the players, because you know we players also get very loud when things get hyped within the game.
Our matchup against Heroes Hearth is going to be a difficult one. I think they're quite a scary team regarding the meta that they have and the pocket picks that they have. We're going to be showing them respect in draft, and we're going to study them a lot. But I'm confident that we're going to be the stronger team on the day and that we'll meet Gen G in the semi-finals.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, many of these players, it is their first time on the BlizzCon stage. Let's lend them your energy. In the red corner, the #2 seed from Europe, it is Team Liquid! And over in the blue corner, the hometown boys, North America's own Heroes Hearth Esports! All right, captains, center stage, shake hands. Crowan, this way, my man. Hasu. May the best team win. All right, this is gonna be an amazing matchup. Gilly, take it away.
They may have started off slowly in the group stage, but Team Liquid has been gaining steam. The only team to take a game off of Gen G at this tournament. And now maybe their toughest hurdle yet with North America, and a North American crowd, and a North American meta. But for me, the longer we see this team, Tetcher, the more it feels like the story of this team is the story of Arcaner.
Absolutely. Arcaner, he came from ANZ originally playing for Nomia, came over to Europe, played for a couple different teams, but he finally seems to have found a home, and his play has really shown that. He's really become a standout player for Europe. And like Heroes Hearth said, a lot of his drafting strategy has also influenced the team, and you're really starting to see that come into play during the latter phases of opening week.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I went back and I watched some of these games. It's like the opposite. Team Liquid started out phase 2, they were on a tear, stumbled a little bit, but now they're back on that big spree that we saw them. And I watched Arcaner, different builds, different play. There was only one mistake in that game against Gen G, but he played almost a perfect game on that Genji when he played against Gen G on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I went back and watched that. I was like, he put on such a masterful individual performance that it was one of the reasons why they were able to win that. But the team as a whole is so strong right now at every single position.
But Dreadnought, some of those drafts did start to be easy to recognize. How important is it that there's some change up here for Team Liquid?
I think it's very, very important, because I would argue some of the patterns that we see in the drafting style is specifically talking about the high Decker priority and the low Diablo, and changing that out with the Garrosh there for Sport Billy, I feel like leaves them very, very susceptible to the macro-oriented play that North America is bringing to the table here. Specifically, if there is a world where Garrosh ends up getting high selected and an Abathur is on the side of Heroes Hearth Esports, Heroes Hearth Esports is going to play Ring Around the Rosie and command answers all over the battleground.
Yeah, J-How, Heroes Hearth Esports was another pleasant surprise in the group stage. They placed second in their group. They're going up against Team Liquid, who were third in theirs. Granted, there was a couple of Korean teams in their groups, let's be honest here. But even still, they only fully lost to Dignitas. They went 1-1 with the one. They took out Tempest. They took out Leftovers. This is North America's best hope.
It's amazing what this team has accomplished since its inception, coming from the open division, coming through, and they've always been about about team synergy. Their drafts in basic abilities and the big combos that we see, they will always be about executing compositions together as a team. They do everything as a team, and as they've gone on, they've only grown wiser to play the map even better. They've got McIntyre there. It seems like this element of this team is about synergy and coming together, but it requires a lot of execution. They're one of the rare teams that you can say they can get away with this with whatever draft, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Right, even with a sub that's gone to star status, Hami, in how he played when he was ringing around the Rosie with his Illidan on Towers of Doom. But let's focus even more on two players who are in a very important moment of their life, and that is Hasuabs and McIntyre. Both of them have been trying for so long to make it here to the BlizzCon stage, and they had to make it through the group stage. You can look back to B-Step, you can look back to the Barrel Boys for McIntyre, but he has always been trying to get to this stage, and then even further past that. Hasuabs, he joined Mouse Sports for Warcraft 3 in 2003, 15 years, Tetra, he's been trying to get right here.
He has been playing esports for about 3/5 of the time that I have been alive, and this is the first time he's managed to make it to BlizzCon, trying across 3 different games. He has finally done it. He's playing on the main stage, and I'm so excited to see what he can do.
Dread, it's a huge deal in your career to play on this stage right here.
It really is. Definitely some of my greatest memories are very much standing where those players are currently. And again, I said it earlier in the opening week when talking and highlighting these two players, but for me, the mental strength that they have had to be able to just retry over and over again, and more importantly, be leaders when in every one of those rosters. It's honestly something that is very, very inspiring to me, and something that I think all of us here can very much appreciate.
Well, we see the vote. It is favored toward Team Liquid. Do you guys agree with that? Is it just too close to call, J-How?
Look, I hate to say it in front of this crowd. I went back, and I've been watching a lot of Team Liquid's games lately. I'm trying to dissect what makes this team great. They've been doing so many individual things well, and the step up, I'm glad we talked about Hasuab, because as good as Arcaner has been, Hasuab shifting his priority in heroes that he's been playing has allowed Arcaner to be able to make those plays. And for Team Liquid, it seems like they have the perfect element. Nurok switching, they've got Sport Billy, who's been playing out of his mind on that tank role. They have really come together at what seems to be like the perfect moment. So I don't think the votes are that far off right now, but Heroes Hearth, you never know what you're going to get.
I love Heroes Hearth style. They're an incredibly solid macro team. I really enjoy it, but like J-How said, there's so many key players on this team. Nurok's support is some of the best I've seen, and Hasuab's his Ring of Frosts were game-winning during the group phase.
And key players in the audience, too, because I know there's a lot of family support here. We heard from Arcaner's parents. We saw Arcaner's parents, as well as some people who weren't Arcaner's parents. And I know McIntyre's family is here. We're all Arcaner's parents, and we're all pumped. So let's do it, the Battleground pool for this best of 3 between NA and EU. And here it is. Battlefield of Eternity is the ban for Team Liquid. They have changed things up, but have gone back to that every now and again. Volskaya Foundry is what Heroes Hearth has banned, and that is an interesting one considering it's been Shrines all the way through the group stage. But we have seen Team Liquid pick quite a lot of Volskaya Foundry. What we haven't seen them pick is Towers of Doom. There is your change up. There, we're getting it now from Team Liquid.
Towers of Doom has just been a classic opener for a lot of teams throughout this tournament, and it has given us some of the best matches so far. But it's also, we talk about the new Team Liquid, this is where the old Team Liquid would on the odd occasion bust out something a little creative from time to time.
I think,
yeah, specialists.
I think that's the name of the game, is that Team Liquid, they haven't had to show a lot. They've shown some strong picks, but they haven't shown a lot. The Abathur, you can bet that Abathur will likely not be seen for the rest of what seems like this tournament. Zeratul, also a strong pick that Heroes Hearth has relied on, has been taken away.
The Maya being let through, something that we have not seen very frequently throughout the entirety of opening week there. And there is the high garage priority that we've been seeing and expecting here out of this Team Liquid here. But I think the removal of the Zeratul is very, very important when it comes to this draft. I think McIntyre's look great on the hero, and we'll see if it pays out for Liquid.
So a question here, with Zeratul and Abathur banned out, global suddenly become a lot more viable, including a very particular global that we used to see from our lovely Hasuabs. Could this be the potential for the last pick lost Viking turn.
I think that's important to note because with the Maiev pick, you don't really know what you get, but you take away the Zeratul, one of the great Viking hunters, and then you could go into a Tracer if you wanted to, if your Team Liquid Arcaner's been playing out of his mind. But the Maiev pick, the Blaze in Europe, I watched this, I watched the Dignitas replays the other day. That Blaze has been one of the best counters towards Maiev initiations that you'll see. So the high priority on the Blaze, no surprise here. It's a great counter, and you have the Garrosh there to survive a lot of that. So when you see the Anub'arak, he might actually be going for cocoons on that Blaze as opposed to any support that comes in.
And I'm really surprised actually to see the Malfurion ban. One of the few teams at this tournament that is willing to pick Malfurion, only below that of Deckard, is Team Liquid. And they do it with this Garrosh pickup. And that's some of the rigidness I was talking about in this drafting from Team Liquid. But you have a Tyrande Anub Maiev. Your kill potential is far greater than a Malfurion could ever heal. So I suddenly have a lot of questions here. Yes, the Blaze Bunker is a pause button that they're going to need, but I feel like it's maybe a lost ban there for Heroes Heart.
But that started all the way back with Deckard Cain, right? That's the issue, is that whenever Team Liquid was in that second pick position, it's Blaze, Deckard, and then they didn't get that, so then they brought the Garrosh faster. But now not Malfurion there. We'll have to see what Nurok ends up being on, but at least they do get Arcaner's Li Ming, which was standout versus Tempo Storm.
It really was. They were able to get blow up after blow up, and although Anub'arak can have beetles that can block it, Li Ming also turns around the countering a little bit, of course, with Disintegrate onto the Cocoon. And you look at Tyrande, look at Hanzo, you have potentially squishy members against that Li Ming. The Vikings' dream is unfortunately dead, but Nurok is going to be able to get a support. But with two of his favorites banned out, we are going to be seeing the white main coming out for the first time in a while. It was so rare during opening week.
I really love the Dahaka pick because the flank position on Towers of Doom, it's always so prominent in team fights. You've got the Cocoon. Yes, that can be busted up by Li Ming pretty quick, but as long as you can dive on that backline and create enough disruption, white main gets the majority of the healing through damage. I mean, that's where it comes in at. You can still get the Scarlet Aegis off, but the Dahaka pick, very good pickup for McIntyre.
Well, consider the fact that Hami used to play some Dahaka too. We've seen some of the flexibility, some of the changes with Hami and McIntyre to allow McIntyre to play more of the melee assassins like Zeratul. Are we expecting some kind of change up here? Looking at Hanzo, which is normally Crowin.
I think we're going to see McIntyre still probably going to find himself onto the Dahaka in this type of situation, but it is one of those questions that I think Team Liquid can't be absolute about going into the series because it has been a very mix-up, heavy mix-up when looking at who is going to be playing what for McIntyre and friends since we've got Homicidal here on Heroes Hearth roster.
Yeah, it has just felt like McIntyre, when he is on more of that playmaking role, sometimes he gets caught in rotations, but he also makes some fantastic plays. How are we feeling about these drafts, guys? Who do we have as a favorite? Tetcher?
Maiev is always solid. You can still go for the containment disc, as we've already talked about. Warden's Cage can be shut down by Indomitable and Bunker, so I'm quite liking Liquid's playing around that. But if we go for a containment disc blow-up style with Tyrande, Heroes Hearth draft is pretty good.
Give me a containment disc on the Blaze, take away that bunker, have everything else kind of swarm around that. The Cocoon doesn't matter. It takes away resources from that, and I think that's your excellent execution that you can go with. Because that bunker is always a great counter towards the Warden's Cage, the containment disc. You take away that, I think that's a very good start for Heroes Hearth.
Yeah, you got containment and Cocoon too, so even if you have the concern about Cocoon with Li Ming, that's a lot of isolation.
Heroes Hearth very heavily looked at some of the draft patterns of Team Liquid and came in with their own iteration of the game plan to take it out. And I think that they walked away with nearly everything that they were hoping for. The only deviation, maybe they didn't expect to get their hands on the Maiev. But with the Tyrande and the 2-3, that's totally fine for you and your team as long as you're not out macroed. Dahaka into the Blaze, it's an even matchup here. I think Heroes Hearth got what they wanted, and honestly, I think I give them the upper hand.
Well, the players are ready. We're ready. I want to know, are you guys ready? Let's do it. NA versus EU starts now.
Dreadnought, here we go. This is North America versus Europe. Everybody loves these matchups. We get it here. Heroes Hearth has blown up on the scene in North America. Got a lot of fans out there. But Team Liquid, for me, I don't know, man. I feel really strong about what they've been achieving over the last week plus.
I think that they have made a lot happen. But again, I will keep raising the point that I personally feel like Sport Billy has adjusted their drafts too heavily onto the Garrosh to make sure he can be that threat into the front line. He is a monster when he is on the hero, but is the priority something that is actually accurate when looking at objective meta at the international level? To be honest, that's why we have this series at hand. We can find answers to these type of questions, Jay.
Well, let's find them right now. It's time to get this started because it's going to be Heroes Hearth on the left here in blue. That's going to be Crowin on his familiar Hanzo. PBJ will be supporting on Tyrande. Mac will indeed be on that Dahaka Ishbu on Anub'arak, meaning Hami will be on that Maiev. Give it up for Heroes Hearth.
And in the red, their counterpart Team Liquid, where we have Sport Billy on the Garrosh. Eternal is going to be repping on the Blaze in that off lane. Arcane